I'm Terrell. My pronouns are they, them, and he, him. I'm 23. I just really do a lot of activism through like artwork, speaking about my own experiences, and showing up for protests and things like that.
My name is Elias. I'm 21 and I'm in my second year, doing fine art, and I'm a trans man.
My name is Rico Jacob Chase. I'm a director at Transnational UK. I identify as a black trans guy.
My name's Connie York. I come from East London. I'm 24 and I transitioned around the age of like 20, and I've just been involved in things like this.
My name is Victoria Cervantes Gigante. I'm originally from the Philippines. I moved here in the United Kingdom to study health and social care, and I am currently working for NHS. I'm also one of the members of Stonewall Transgender Advisory Group, and I'm a proud transgender woman.
I'm Harper. I'm 22 and I am a musician and a barista and a trans woman. I felt so different ever since I was like a child. Like I was 8 and I would like put on heels and do like fashion shows for my mum and turn looks. And when I came out as trans, I was about 12 or 13. And I did this like really cute like treasure hunt for my parents where I like drew out the trans symbol and like stuck it behind a door and was like, and then like sent my parents on a treasure hunt around the house to like, so that they could like figure it out, because I felt so awkward about telling them.
You kind of know innately that there's something about you that doesn't fit the particular stereotypes or the particular things that society's on. So, you know, I did lots of research and I started watching videos of people, and then that's when I started hearing the words like transgender and non-binary and things like that, and I was like, ooh, that's really matching with me. I went through a whole phase where I just presented myself as like this cisgendered straight woman because I thought it was the safest thing for me to do. But in reality, it wasn't my reality.
I knew my sexual identity before my gender identity. I remember the first time I put a dress on and I was like crying uncontrollably, and I was like, why am I feeling this kind of way? I will always remember it like it was such a euphoric moment because I felt so lost prior to it. I didn't feel like I had a sense of identity. So when I had that first dress on, I was like, oh my god, this is me. And it was so pure and innocent, and I know that no one can ever take that away from me.
I think the self-discovery when I was 5, 6 years old, when I mainly wear more feminine clothing, yet my family back home in the Philippines are very conservative. They ask me to wear this, but this is not what I like, this is not what I need.
I wasn't quite the same as some of the other lesbian, like my co-workers and the customers coming in, but it was one of the co-workers here that actually said to me, "Are you trans?" And I was just like, "I think so." And then they said, "Well, what's your pronouns?" My pronouns are he, him. It's like, but don't bother, you know, don't. It's like, I don't want to inconvenience you too much. And they said, what you're saying, that's ridiculous. Like, if it's your pronouns, just tell people. People will accommodate your pronouns.
I remember having a conversation with a friend and I said to her, oh, I think I might be trans. And she said to me, oh, okay, well, if there's any pronouns you want me to use, this was when I was around 14, like, let me know. And I didn't know what pronouns were. So I was just like, yeah, okay. And then just like basically had missed this opportunity to have a bit more of a self-affirming relationship with myself. I think there was a lot of social cues kind of like, I guess, made for girls that I didn't really understand. My parents moved and I had to go to a different school, and suddenly there were male and female toilets and uniforms that had slightly different ways of like styling based on the gender, and that was just very confusing to me, and I experienced quite a lot of distress. I also just remember being really puzzled by the male and female toilets. I wasn't sure which one I was supposed to use for a long time. But I just kind of like followed people in because I was too scared to go on my own, because I just didn't get what the point was really.
It was a really challenging journey because I come from a Caribbean household, and you know, back home in Jamaica, people like me are living near sewers. So I just automatically assumed that my existence was shit, and it was a very hard time for me at the time because my parents' relationship was really getting to me, and I was very depressed and very suicidal, and it was just a very difficult time.
I think with all things there's highs and lows. Like there's moments where you kind of have conversations with people and it doesn't really go the way that you expected it to.
There's always those namesayers that like, doesn't matter how feminine, how passable you may be, there's always someone that's going to question your identity because they don't get it, so they don't choose to like educate themselves.
So I ended up having a very, very interesting discussion with trolls about my own identity. They said to me, "Oh, but you're gay, I know you're gay." And I was like, no, I'm trans. But they didn't understand what the word trans meant. At the end of it, I was like, you just completely misunderstood. Here's the definitions. I am incredibly proud of being a black trans guy, but let's get to the original point that women are not responsible for gay men. I think you can have those disagreements. People can come up to you and say, I think being gay or trans is a choice. And say, okay, I completely understand what you're saying. I disagree, I respect your opinion, please don't talk to me again.
Growing up is a challenge because I experienced a lot of all of this, what every part of the LGBT community experienced, the bullying, the harassment. As a transgender woman from the Philippines, we have been stereotyped of a ladyboy, especially in Thailand, where most Asian people are saying, oh, that is a ladyboy. What's between your legs? It's quite very demeaning as well.
Where I live is the same. It's kind of the middle of nowhere. It's a very like small town. I was the first trans person to kind of come out, and I transitioned halfway through school. It was a new concept for everyone, you know. I got a lot of stick in school, mainly from teachers. Actually, I wasn't allowed in female bathrooms or changing rooms. I was banned from sports teams. I was like not allowed to go on school trips or anything. Just very much like segregated from the rest of the school.
I think it was like beginning of this year, I was just kind of like, you know what, fuck it, like it is what it is. I know some people don't like me, some people think I'm weird, whatever. And because my relationship with my family's never been good, I just cut myself from them completely. And now I just exist as I am and do what I want, really. I came out as trans like 2 years ago, and I've now lived as Sorol for a year now. I think it's rubbish that we have to prove anything to a government that doesn't even acknowledge that we exist, but we move. I have been always thinking about wanting to like take T and have top surgery, things like that, but I don't know when that day will come. I will get there eventually.
My medical transition for me was, first and foremost, I knew I needed top surgery. That was something that at some point I would absolutely have to get for me to feel comfortable. Or just myself even, not even about comfort. I'm also on testosterone. I've been on testosterone over a year. I just could not get anyone to refer me into like NHS services. I think people thought I was too like complex, or there was too much going on for them to see beyond what mental health problems I had, when actually probably a lot of that was just caused by me being trans and not being like given any help for it whatsoever. I remember talking to my psychiatrist about sort of like these feelings I was having about my body, and he just did not get it whatsoever. I was talking about how I had a really strange like relationship with my chest, and that like I knew that it was quite a conventionally attractive female chest, but for some reason I just wasn't happy with it. And his question to me was, have you ever thought about cutting your breasts off? And I didn't know what top surgery was at this point, and he didn't describe it as like a surgery that I could access. I thought he was asking about like self-harm, and so I said no, and then he was like, okay, well, I don't think you have gender dysphoria, so I'm not going to refer you into the child adolescent gender pathway thing. So I kind of like held back from it a bit, almost, because I didn't want to be seen as difficult, so that was quite frustrating. Eventually, for my hormones, I went private, and I got my prescription via that route.
I realised that my dysphoria was uncomfortable. I think it was just peer pressure. So I distinctly remember one of my brother's friends came over, and he said to me that you look like a boy. And he said it in such a derogatory term. I thought, oh my god, like I can't do that. I can't look like a boy. That's a terrible thing to do. So from the age of 18 all the way to 25, I wore heels, I wore dresses. I had a boyfriend. I lived with my boyfriend, so I did the whole thing. And I got 25. I was actually, this is rubbish. This isn't who I am. I know who I am. This is like I've learned it's performative. It's effectively acting. And I realised that I didn't want to have to transition in a professional environment. So I went private and I self-funded. So I'm starting testosterone, believe it or not, in a couple of days' time. I'm not on testosterone right now. I naturally look hairy and masculine. But yeah, I'm quite happy about that. It was a problem when I was a kid, but I'm quite happy about that now.
Initially, I went to my GP. She referred me to a gender clinic, but as you know, the wait times are ridiculous. So I said to myself, if I have to go private, then that's what I'll have to do. Went down that route of medication and making sure that I was, to them I suppose, fit the criteria, which was difficult because as much as they say they're not gatekeepers, that's exactly how it feels. So yeah, a lot of it was the hormone, legal documents. It's just surgery after that really. I had breast surgery this February just gone. That really, I felt more myself after that. After that I was like, okay, I can wear more things that feel right for me and not because I have to go with the body that I had before. But I always remember on the surgical table when they was like tying me down and I was like crying and I was like sobbing and I was just so happy and I was like, oh, it's built up to this moment and I just feel like this is it now. This is me.
I'm on that stage. I'm taking my hormones. I'm now under the gender identity clinic within the NHS. We have a different way of what we want and need and how we will show ourselves to the world. My very first way of acceptance is being socially accepted. In the long run, maybe surgically, I'll think about that because at the moment I'm very happy for whatever I have between my legs. Yet whatever between my legs doesn't define me. I'm comfortable with my body at the moment and I'm happy with it at the moment. And the people around me are happy with this as well. My friends, my partner, they're very accepting towards me. So I'm owning it. I'm owning what I have.
I just had a conversation with my mum and my dad. We had a conversation as a family, and they were like, you know, if this is really what you want, you know, we can fund to allow you to be who you want to be. And then that's when we started to go international and do different researches. Boston was so much fun. It was really nice. I just went with myself and my mum. We flew over to go to one of the hospitals there. I had a testosterone blocker and I received my first dosage of estrogen hormones. And then Mum was like, okay, so what next? And I was like, well, you know, I feel like other women are developing in this way. I would like to as well, you know. So we drove to Belgium and then, yeah, I went over there, had my breast augmentation, felt like a new woman, and then came back again. And it was wonderful. Yeah, I felt like I was finally, after 14 years, I was taking this step forward to be who I wanted to be.
I think for me, I guess it's gratitude, to be honest with you. When you kind of go through that, you really appreciate everything. Everything seems like a blessing to you because you've been through the tougher times.
My gender euphoria experience has been pretty interesting. One of the biggest things for me was body hair, and now I'm quite hairy, so that's great. But I think the main thing for me is that actually now I'm not afraid to be feminine. It feels like I'm able to finally breathe, that I can now accept myself and throughout the whole spectrum of presentation now, and I don't feel like have to justify myself or explain myself.
Yes, it feels good to, have this space where you can free yourself and to go in a certain places where everyone will be celebrated for your identity. I'm here in this country. I can wear whatever I can wear. I can dress up. I have a long hair now. I have a very
beautiful life.
I have
living your beautiful life. You're stunning.
I have a very short hair before, something like okay, but now I'm having my long hair. So yeah.
It's easier now, like for anyone that says anything negative to me, it's like water off a duck's back, because I don't need people's validation anymore. I felt that I needed a man's validation or their attention and love to know that I am who I am. When it got to further stages in my transition, I was like, I don't need you to tell me who I am or to find me attractive to know that I am a woman. Women as a whole, we all feel pressured by society to look a certain way, be a certain way. And my experiences of those, it's like, you know, talk to your friends, reach out to people. And as I say, you're going to have those days, but you'll get through it.
You know, you have to find your way around things and just live your best life.
We live every day, and we have to make the most of it. We're in a world that, you know, it's evolving, and what we can do is to accept the fact that we are still alive, fortunate enough to be alive, compared to other transgender people out there who experience all the horrendous things that happened to them, who'd been killed, who'd been attacked, who'd been disowned by their family.
Her pronouns scare me. Like, it reminds me of a part of me that I don't want to entertain. It's very hard to kind of take my mind back there, but sometimes I like to, because it reminds me that I've come really far. Now that I've found my peace, I'm trying to help other people find their peace.
I spent a lot of time kind of living in fear of being judged for being trans and not feeling good enough to be in relationships, whether that's like romantic or friendship. And I've met some really amazing people this last kind of year that have really affirmed in me that I'm not a weirdo. You know, I'm absolutely worthy of receiving love in all different ways.
Trans, non-binary, gender non-conforming, we're all still human beings that deserve to be loved and receive love.
The purest version of my experience has just been that I'm trying to feel happy.
Things are slowly becoming the way that I want it to be, and I feel like I have control over my destiny.
We are born free and equal, and we deserve the respect with dignity and rights in this world. We are out there in the society, we are productive.
People sometimes lose sight of the fact that it's actually a human rights issue.
We're just like everyone else. We're just getting up every day and trying to make the best of the cards that we were dealt. We were given a bit of a tough, confusing start in life, and we're just trying to make the best of it.
Once we put ourselves out there that we are visible, and to make other people aware that, hey, we are part of the community, we are still here, we deserve to be who we are.
I really do believe that it's going to be a positive change, because even people who aren't within our community are starting to recognise us for who we are and appreciate us that we're just here. We're starting to see a lot of trans and non-binary people on TV and film. We're starting to see a lot of trans and non-binary people breaking into areas of sectors of work that we probably wouldn't have thought about in the first place. I never thought that I would ever get to see someone like MJ on a magazine, or seeing lots of trans people doing modelling and not having to be shamed, and seeing lots of trans people in areas that we always get excluded from or exploited in, we're now leading. So I think it's going to be positive. Think of how proud everybody on Paris is Burning would be to see something like Pose on national TV. As long as I can help people outside of the community see us as people, then that's all I can do.
In many ways, to be trans is amazing, because it means I have this life experience and this voice that I can use to elevate people around me, and I just want to use my position to help kids who feel like me.
It's real people who are in some type of mental or physical pain, and they're literally just trying to alleviate that.
In regards to trans awareness, I think that people need to realise that we're all human beings.
Transgender people are also human beings.
Trans people are we're just people.
You get good and bad in everyone. My mum always says that to me, you know, it doesn't matter from where you're from, your social background, the money that you have, we all end up in the same box. You don't know what someone's going through. A little smile, a little hello, a little check-in doesn't take a lot.
We're just trying to leave a positive mark on the world. Our gender and our identity is our business. It's not something that's up for debate. It's not something that's up for speculation. I have so many people that when I come out to them, like the first thing they ask is, so what genitalia do you have, or what was your name before? And the answer is always none of your business. You should ask questions because you want to learn more about the subject, not because you want to spill some tea. How we identify is how we identify, and I think that should be respected by everyone. We would love you to be part of that and to be part of our community in a respectful way.
I've been rambling and talking and rambling.
Where are the keys?
I'm gonna get my juice.
Is my face really shiny?
Not at all. I mean, you've got a glow. Like, you've got like...
Yeah!
Thank you so much.
I'm so sorry, there were so many...
My dream in life is to get famous enough to have a Nando's black card. And you know, KFC has one, and Burger King. So my dream is to get famous enough so I can have all three of them. That's the goal. So then whenever I feel like it, I could just be like, guys, Burger King on me.